Welcome back to the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. I'm Ace Housethor, here today with Mark Sherry and David Sokol. You just heard sort of a pop-punk pairing at the end of our pairing show, Heart of Stone by Jared Knapik, paired with Check Yes Juliet by We the Kings. And then before that, we had Can I Make It Up to You by US Elevator, paired with Cinnamon Girl, Neil Young and Crazy Horse. That was fun.
Yeah, and the Jared song, I really like that a lot. I wasn't familiar with him, but that's a cool song, and those two match up very nicely together.
Yeah, it's a very natural fit in the modern pop punk scene. Obviously, Check Yes Juliet, for those of you who were in your teens and 20s during the 2000s, is maybe one of the biggest pop punk tracks ever. It was a massive, massive hit. Especially in the teenage pop punk demographic. It was like right up there with Ocean Avenue, right up there with Green Day, Fall Out Boy, all the big names at the time. And I think Jared absolutely, his track fits in there perfectly. It is a very natural progression into the modern pop punk scene, fitting right there with a lot of other indie pop punk acts that I love very, very dearly. This track, though, is wonderful, and the rest of the album holds together very well on that sort of slightly less distorted tone. These sort of almost slightly clean but still saturated guitars that help bring a touch of I'm not sure what the vibe is, but it's a really cool vibe. That's the vibe. Yes.
And that song is from the We the King song is from their debut album, right?
Oh yeah, no, that was like the big hit. They came out of the gate with Check Yes Juliet and in 2007, and it just exploded.
Wow.
Yeah. And that Jared Knapik, I don't know if did we mention that he's from the Hartford, Connecticut area.
Yes, and, brilliant Hartford musician. There's a lot of great pop punk in and around northern Connecticut, so it's really cool to see that scene is alive and thriving.
Yeah, that Heart of Stone song is, I think, just
wonderful.
It really is. It's a great. And is that his first album?
I believe that is one of his first full lengths. He had a couple of EPs before that, but yeah, that's one of the big ones.
Yeah, well, I think he's got a good future ahead of him. He's got a nice sound, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Then before that, we had an interesting pairing. US Elevator, Can I Make It Up to You? This track is kind of brilliant. I'm not sure what to make of it, but I really like it. It's like one part, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit Neil Young, but it's also a little bit They Might Be Giants, sort of bridging the gap between the indie rock scene and classic rock in some ways. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, and Johnny Iran, who co-wrote that song, and he really put together the band US Elevator. He writes with a real pop sensibility from the 60s and the 70s, but he also throws in elements of alt country as well as what you just said, Ace. And it's really he just has, if you listen to that US Elevator, self-titled US Elevator album, the songs just you get transported. They feel very contemporary, but yet they kind of take you back to those days of the Beatles and the Burrito Brothers and the Byrds and Neil Young. And I think it's really it's good stuff. It's very well and very authentic the way Johnny writes.
Right, and, it's great stuff, and even the composition is very clever. Is like the thing. It's very authentic music, but the chord changes and the chorus and some of the elements there are. Some of the little modulations are so intricate and interesting, which does also still harken back to that sort of Beatlesy thing where you take very complicated musical theory ideas and, make them interesting.
Yeah, and accessible, like really.
And very accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. And that band, US Elevator, also includes Brett Long, who is a longtime member of the band Bunk,
cool.
band from Hadley, Massachusetts.
Yeah, and Johnny was a resident for quite a while out in the Berkshires, right?
Yeah, and we paired that up with a song that came out decades earlier on Neil Young's classic "Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere" album, which came out back in 1969. But they have a nice kind of I think they just go good together. I think
it's very natural. Yeah,
very natural.
Absolutely. Cinnamon Girl is something that I think pretty much everybody grew up with, no matter what, how old you were.
Yeah.
It's embedded in your memory. That's for sure.
And
Maybe
it also
so.
feels as fresh today as it did, when it came out 5 decades ago.
Yeah.
Is that for
Well,
5 decades?
This was a lot of fun, guys. Pairings number 7. So thanks for everybody for visiting with us today. Mark Sherry here with Ace Houselaw and David Sokol at the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. And I hope you enjoyed some great original music from Western New England artists. The New Music Alliance Radio Hour is brought to you by the New Music Alliance, which is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to assist and advance the careers of talented, creative local musicians who write original music, and to promote the extended Western New England area as a destination for original music writing, production, and performances. And if you like what we're doing here on the show, tell your friends about it and like the New Music Alliance on Facebook. Have you heard some great original music from a local artist from Western Mass, Central Connecticut, or Southern Vermont and would like to hear it played on our show? Or are you a local Western New England musician who would like to have your original music considered to be on our show? If yes, send your recommendations with links if possible to newmusicalliance@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to get as many as we can on the air. So join us next week for some more great tunes from exciting local artists. And we want to mention something that just happened last week, which was our production of the Valley Music Showcase, which is an event that we were doing every 2 months pre-pandemic. And this was the first one that we did in 2020. And we did that as a virtual show out at Glendale Ridge Vineyards. It was a great event, and we want to congratulate the winners of the event, Shagahad, a band both from Western Mass and the Hartford area. They were the first place winners, and we had some amazing people there. Kaylin Lee, who did a wonderful job, and the Moonshells, Lemon Street, and Born for Blues. And if you'd like to hear the whole show, it's up on the New Music Alliance Facebook page, as well as the Valley Music Showcases Facebook page. You'll be able to hear the show up there anytime you like.
And don't forget to get up and vote. That's very important.
Absolutely. Get those ballots in.
Yeah. And back to the show for a sec. It really, Mark Sherry did a remarkable job of pulling it together. We were talking about really, really good local or music by local Western New England performers. Man, that was a showcase. If you get a chance and can watch any of those bands or all of them, they were all really quality bands. And it was one of the closest. It was a competition, but man, it was very, very hard to pick a winner because they were all so good.
Yeah, it was definitely a privilege to be there. It really was, especially in these COVID times when these opportunities are so limited. But if you watch the show, I think you can get the feeling of being there. So hopefully you'll check it out.
Yeah.
So let's have Charles and Khalif Neville take us out with African Eyes. And until next week, keep
on rocking.